All right, and welcome to Dominate Open week number 6. We've got a game and series for you guys today here. We've got Egg Gaming up against Cute Girls Only here, and bringing you to action today will be myself, Nightstar, as your play-by-play, and my color caster.
Yep, that's me, I guess. Yeah, Switch here, and hey, we're already into pick and ban, my guy, so let's catch up, shall we?
Yeah, let's get straight into it. We've got the action already going down. We've got Evelyn, Syndra, Alawi, Draven. Some of these interesting picks. I assume it's very targeted bans here.
Yeah, I would have to assume that too, or else I'd start flaming. So, targeted bans, guaranteed, and nothing too out of the ordinary. I mean, the Alawi is the only fringe pick that I could say, like, with certainty, like, if there's not a one-trick Alawi on the other side, you're kind of trolling when you ban this champion. But other than that, these are still very strong picks. Is that a Timo?
I guess.
Let me just check the chat to make sure it's not a misclick.
Wait.
Oh, okay. I think it's a ban. It's a wasted ban, right? Because I'm pretty sure one of these teams are using subs. Actually, these teams are using a lot of subs, from what I can tell.
Yeah, there were some shenanigans going around in the background before we got into this first game. But Nami is going to be that first champion picked up here for Egg. Tell me about this champion. What do they want to do with this?
Nami is a champion that gives you a lot of presence in lane, to be honest. And right now, the AD carry pool is actually leaning towards not so lane dominant, I would say, but more scaling AD carries. So we're seeing a lot of Kai'Sa. We're still seeing a lot of Vayne, but alongside that, we're seeing Jinx, Sivir as well, performing quite well. And there's the Sivir pick like we were talking about. But Nami is going to help your AD carry get through the lane phase and hopefully even stomp the laning phase if it comes to that. But either way, okay, not the Sivir, but the Braum support is actually going to be picked up alongside with the Ornn. I actually like picking up Ornn alongside Braum because usually Braum is a soft counter to Ornn, because when you call the Forge God over, Braum can just soak that up with the shield, but not this time.
Yeah, and instantly they lock in Darius Vayne. It looks like the Nami's going to be paired up with the Vayne. I was hoping to see maybe a Lucian pick to really take advantage of that aggressive lane phase you can have with the Nami, but it does look like Nami's going to be used to shore up some lane weaknesses instead.
Yeah, that's totally true. It could have worked out with the Lucian, but either way, Vayne it is. And Vayne's been super popular lately. And actually, I'm surprised to see a Sivir going into Vayne. Vayne is a bit of a soft counter as well to the Sivir, because Sivir has no hard disengages and she just cannot keep up with the damage Vayne outputs. So in terms of 1v1s, it's very hard for Sivir to actually be able to play it. But in lane, they're more or less equal, I would say. And Darius, well, he did receive a buff this patch, I believe, 10 damage at all ranks to his decimating, Q, as well as healing more. So he's actually been wreaking havoc in solo queue. I'm not sure about his win rate right now. Let me actually check that up really quickly. Okay, so he's sitting at 51.3 at the moment, and the buff is definitely working wonders for him right now.
Yeah, and I mean, Ornn, not exactly one of those champions that can necessarily duel a bruiser like the Darius, so we might see a little bit of a rough time for this top lane. And just to explain the Mordekaiser ban here, Cute Girls Only, they did also lose a second ban, so that's where their second wasted ban comes in. The Mordekaiser is just a burner ban, wanting to move this draft a little bit faster than just waiting out the 30 seconds.
Yeah, thank God. My solo queue teammates, though, they do not understand that. So they just go ahead and wait the entire duration. Lee Sin, the last ban here, and a lot of it targeted toward the jungle, actually. And I usually don't see Master Yi banned in competitive, but sure, whatever works. I mean, totally up to whatever your opponent plays in this case. But yeah, just going back to the point, yeah, Darius versus Ornn, I'm very curious to see, especially because I haven't seen a lot of Ornn in a long time. Like, from what I recall, he's in a relatively good state, but his laning phase doesn't exactly strike terror, and he doesn't have, I believe his shield is now pushed towards, or he doesn't have a shield anymore, if I recall correctly.
Yeah, he
He's
doesn't
been
have
seeing
a
so many
shield.
changes, to be honest.
Yeah, it doesn't have a shield, but it does have the unstoppable effect again,
Right, yeah.
which a lot of pro players really liked because it gave you the nuanced outplay capabilities. But not having shield does hurt a lot of his lane phase. Although they gave him a lot of other stuff. I believe
They reworked his passive too.
yeah,
That's
they
pretty good
upgraded
actually.
his passive, I believe, and the Nautilus is gonna be locked in. It does look like it will be sent
Mid?
into that mid lane, the
Wow.
AP Nautilus.
Yeah, I actually, to be honest, I haven't seen this in competitive play in terms of these community leagues yet, but very excited to see Nautilus here. And I mean, we'll have to see what he gets paired up against. And yeah, Veigar is actually really brutal against Nautilus. I mean, Nautilus has no hard escapes. He has no jumps, no blinks, anything like that. If anything, he just tosses anchor and try and go over to a wall, but the cage will stop that. I mean, if the Veigar goes Glacial Augment, he's also going to make the Nautilus's life living hell. So it's more of like who can CC who first and who can bring their jungler over quicker. And it's going to be Kayn versus Rek'Sai in terms of the jungle matchups. I actually prefer Rek'Sai in this case because Kayn, while he has been gaining a bit of popularity, and we saw a buff to, I believe, his Shadow Assassin form, just not quite in that S tier, I would say. I still think picks like the Jarvan, like the Rek'Sai, and actually Kha'Zix as well, still performing a bit better than Kayn at the moment.
Yeah, Kane, even though he got that big buff, it's still on a form that you don't usually
Right.
see as well. So it feels while it's great for solo queue because it allows you to maybe go for some of the harder carrying builds in a 5v5 setting. It does feel like it's difficult to get the most out of the assassin Kane build. And you touched on the Nautilus Vire. I also want to add in onto that the baby cage, like at all else of all else, like if the Nautilus decides to go in onto the Vigar, you can just throw the baby cage on yourself and it pretty
True,
much
yeah.
disengages the situation for you right there.
Yeah, there's your shield right there. No, no actual shield required. And yeah, that is going to help a lot. So I really do have to keep an eye on the mid 2v2, if anything, and see really who puts more attention in that mid lane. And also, if in terms of Uwu right now, I think you have to also worry about your top lane. Like the Ornn, I'm still really sketchy on if he's going to get out laning phase okay. And Darius is a pick that you do not want to snowball in a game. His split push is just as good as his team fighting, in my opinion. They're both like, I would say around that like 80 range out of 100. And it's still really tough to deal with as well. So we'll have to see where exactly the junglers put their attention to. If anything, I would think bottom lane, you can sit comfortably. Sivir and Vayne both have a good time scaling into the game. Vayne, of course, hitting that power spike with the Rage Blade a little bit earlier than Sivir.
Yeah, and then you brought up the composition from Cute Girls Only, and I'm also looking at it and I'm trying to comprehend where you want the pressure to be applied upon because it does feel like you picked three lanes that just want to sit back and scale,
Right.
but you want a super aggressive Rek'Sai pick.
Right.
And
Yeah.
I'm really wondering where does this Rek'Sai go to get maximum impact? Because it does feel like Kayn will have the pick of the litter as far as if he wants to invade the jungle or go and gank some lanes.
Right. I think if you're the Rek'Sai in this situation and you don't snowball, you would definitely get outscaled by the Kayn. And I gotta actually wonder, like just a little trivia, but I could have actually seen the jungler swap, like Rek'Sai onto Egg and Kayn onto Uwu, and it actually would have made much more sense to me. But in this case, it is going to be the high presence jungler on the side of Uwu, the scaling composition, and yeah, the pressure is definitely on the Rek'Sai, I would say. However, this composition just scales like fantastically. Like Sivir will help your team get to the late game rather, if it comes down to wave clear and if it comes down to blocking these sieges. Veigar as well has great zoning against teams that try and siege against you. You always have to call the Forge God as well to rely on. And Ornn, of course, after level 11, I believe, is going to be giving you upgrade items. So that's going to help your gold efficiency as well.
Yeah, and I mean, one of the issues that is a big deal for the teams that want to scale up is like how are you able to stall out the game, and when you have Sivir, when you have Vigar, just being able to throw the disengage when they go for sieges or dives, yeah,
Yep.
also having the wave clear to deal with those as well, it does help in propelling you towards that late game. But on the side of Egg, we gotta talk about them as well here. What do you like about this composition?
I mean, it's completely pick focused and high pressure in terms of laning phase. So you can imagine a lot of these picks here, hopefully going to be shoving out and trying to take early objectives. And I can really see them snowballing fights. Like if you can imagine a Nautilus engaging with the depth charge, and that gives the Darius enough time to hopefully catch up to the fight. The tidal wave as well, adding some CC under there. So as long as the Darius gets like a lot of CC onto the enemy team, I believe he can catch up to a fight and just start wreaking havoc. You always have the Vayne to worry about as well. And late game, it's around, I would say, a 3-threat composition. You have the Vayne, but you also need to take care of the Darius. You can't snowball in the fight. And you're always going to have the Kayn poking around, trying to look for openings. And assuming he goes Rost, he can have a huge impact in team fights. So a lot of things to worry about if you're talking about even 5v5s team fights for Egg. However, I would say if you're Uwu, I actually personally prefer the composition a little better. Like I said, great scaling. And if you actually get ahead in the early game, like you're set. You don't have to worry about anything anymore because you outscale them eventually. And you don't have to worry about, oh, we need to get as many dragons as we can. Oh, we need to stop this Baron. No, you're fine. You got Sivir, you got a Veigar. They can stop sieges relatively well. So I personally prefer Uwu. However, we'll have to see how these two teams play it out in the game.
Yeah, and the more I look at Egg's composition, the Kayn just makes less and less sense as far as, well, you have some of these lanes that want to be super aggressive, but the Kayn wants to farm up at least to the point where he becomes an actual champion,
Yeah.
right? And you have the Nautilus who could potentially be at risk of shoving in just because of how easy it is to push waves with his E. The Darius, of course, as well, can run into some wave control issues when he presses that Q. So it feels like there might be some openings the Rek'Sai could potentially exploit, and having a Kayn who wants to sit back a little more might prove to be an issue for the team of Egg.
Right, and Kayn doesn't necessarily do anything for you in terms of early skirmishing. Like, yeah, he benefits from it, but he's not the best early skirmishing jungler there is. You could have easily seen a Kha'Zix, for example, fit much nicer in there, giving you that high pressure and giving you a threat as you go into that mid game as well. And I think that's the window that Egg are looking for. It's really that mid game that they want to really force and really power through, because once you get to the late game, I think you're really starting to, I don't know, it's very difficult because even small mistakes can really punish the side of Egg. If you lose your Vayne, for example, that's pretty much half of your damage, and also you have no more range damage after that. It's all melee aside from the Vayne, and it's got to work out in the mid game.
Yeah, and I mean, we laid it out here for you guys right on the stream as we are slowly getting into the game here. But you know what? You can also give your own opinion too. Throw it into the chat. Do you like your eggs well done sunny side up, or, you know, fried up here? Or, you know, do you like cute girls only? Throw your
Wow,
opinion into the chat.
those are two very different questions. I'm a scrambled guy, and also I don't know if what's the opposite of liking cute girls? Is it like liking ugly girls?
I don't know. Cute girls only, or is it? I'm not gonna go there. Let's.
Yeah.
I'm still
Hey,
single. I'd like to, you know, keep my options open. But you know what? If the eggs come out scrambled here, that might prove to be an issue in this game number 1, though.
Yeah, but I mean, when life gives you scrambled eggs, something, something, something. So there you go. After all, put your Travi bucks down if you think either of these teams will win. Moral of the story.
All right, here as we are finally getting loaded on in here. Egg will be on the blue side with Zamara up in the top lane. Zahar Frez in the jungle. Voltage, Epic, Axe Guy, and Sylvia Plath to round out that roster. And over on the red side, we have Cute Girls Only. Manatsu in the top lane, Gadir in the jungle, Maknae Sohyun in the
Oh,
mid
not
lane,
bad.
Karn and Shay rounding out in that bot lane. I'm not sure if I hit all of those names properly, but I sure hope so.
Yeah, I mean, like, hey, for like reading a romanization of a Korean name, not too bad to be honest. But either way, I mean, these half of these guys are subs, so I don't even blame you. Like, we're reading them for the first time right now. Like,
Yeah, it does look like both teams hitting up on the 5-man fan here, not looking for any spicy action. I mean, some of it can be attributed to the fact that a lot of these guys are subs, you know, not quite super coordinated. What's our skill order going to be? Yada yada. But
oh, I didn't
both
even
teams are doing
notice. I didn't even notice that they changed the. Do you see the mid lane? How it has like these icons now or these emblems? What is that? The heck is that?
Oh,
Are these the houses that we're picking from?
oh, that might be. I haven't actually played a game on the new patch yet, so you know.
Well,
I'm seeing some things for the first time here.
I mean, okay, all right. So did you pick what house you were in, or have you not even seen that yet?
I haven't even picked a house.
Okay.
I saw the missions.
Yeah.
And you know what? Now I know.
Now you know. Yeah. I think there's even a quiz for it too. So get on
Okay.
that. And anyone in the chat, get on that if you haven't gotten on that.
So is that supposed to be like a Harry Potter illusion?
It's if you read between the lines, yeah, it totally is like a Harry Potter type of thing. But they're like, oh, what kind of player are you? Do you play for the team? Are you looking for the outplay? Are you like a
Okay.
toxic Yasuo? You know, that type of thing. That, like, Reddit is like so convinced that one of the houses is made for like Yasuos that try and 1v9 and like ruin your promos.
Oh god.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Which
okay,
makes
so it
sense.
feels more like a BuzzFeed quiz than actual like Harry Potter. That's what I'm getting here.
I take that as an insult, but yeah, it is towards that direction.
Are you toxic in game? All right, here's the house for you.
Yeah,
That's
basically.
right. So the Riot Games is trying to flame us, is what you're trying to tell me.
I mean, they're pushing us in that direction. You know, they're trying to divide us with all these houses and stuff like that.
Ooh,
Actually-
and Zamera putting in some good damage on Manatsu. And
but
I mean, we
actually
were talking
God
about
here-
it.
God, you're taking a trip towards there as well. Yeah, we were talking about it. This is an explosive lane. Here we go, a gang coming in.
Yeah, here comes the game. Gaudi, you're going
Oh,
in.
no,
The
knock-off?
knockup doesn't land, but
Whoa,
Gaudi.
whoa. I'm actually a little confused what Manatsu was, what was happening over there with him. But either way, a bit of wasted time for Gaudier, so he's gonna have to go slink on over back to his jungle. No
Yeah,
kill to
and-
be had there.
It felt a little strange. Gadir not going for the flash knockup, even though Zamera did burn that flash. But he still does get that burned out here.
Yeah, little visit.
Yeah, just trying to collect some stacks. Push that transformation a little bit faster here.
That's
As,
totally what it was. Not gonna say whether that's efficient or not, but that's totally what it was.
I mean, my friend, he plays a little bit of K. Oh,
Oh,
okay.
this
I think that was a
spectator is,
knockup. And now
another
Gaudi
game.
has a flash. He can't go for the flash knockup. Is just gonna walk straight into him. Does claim the first blood. Will not have to burn the flash looking for that engage, and a hook does land, but the baby cage does get returned upon the interaction I did mention. Pretty easy disengage.
Yep, totally it is. And Zamora on this Darius, I think
Oh!
just as
Zar, he wants in. Does he get the kill? No, he's gonna get slammed into the wall, and Gadir comes up with a second kill. The Frez, he wanted those stacks, but maybe going a little too far.
yeah, that's I would say inefficient, if anything. But yeah, fascinating play coming through, no?
Yeah, I mean, fascinating's one word to go for. It's
Listen, I'm a little limited on my dictionary here. When you're on stream, you can't exactly. Yeah.
Well, let's just say he's scaling, you know, and
That's right. He's testing the waters right now, and
yes.
so he put his little toe in. Turns out it's like scalding hot, but maybe when we come back in later in the game, it'll be like room temperature for him to go in.
Yeah, yeah, that's exactly what we're looking for. Gotta wait for the water to cool down here. Sometimes it's boiling. Sometimes you heated the bath water a little too much. But a play might come into this bot lane. The nice pin coming out from Epic Askai, and they're gonna land the bubble as well. Shay forced to dash away, forced to burn the flash as well here. Flash heal going to be burned by the side of Cute Girls Only.
Yeah, and it's a solid gank too. Czar, not deterred by his interesting play in the top lane, so right back on the map, and he does win some summoners for his bot lane, so that's nice to see. After all, you don't want to see any tilt this early. It is a best of 3, so you have many chances to defeat your opponents in this series.
Yeah, and maybe it's playing the long game even more for Zarfrez. You know, he's testing the wires. Maybe it doesn't come in game number 1. Maybe it comes in game number 2.
Sure.
We never know.
Yeah, I mean, by now he's at least confirmed that.
Oh, here's a clash onto Zamara. He's gonna get knocked down up. And that's going to be Call of Forge God coming in to assist. That's a level advantage up in the top lane, but we've got more to come. Karn forced to flash away, and Zarfrez, he knows what lane he wants to play to, but also Goddeer, he's taking advantage of his lane advantages as well.
Yeah, and I would say a contrast here because Zarfrez, he comes to the lane that he blew a flash at. Well, didn't work out for him because there was another flash available. A little damage going on to
damage.
Voltage.
Goddeer showing up in the bot lane or mid lane as well, and Voltage he'll be able to get away.
Yeah, but on the top side, I mean, Goddeer making good work. Going for the return gank again, gets Zamra already 0-2, and that's the lane that he really wanted to protect, right? We were a little skeptical or sketchy how that lane was going to pan out, but it seems to be going well. Now that you've secured a decent lead, Manatsu is 1 level ahead of his enemy counterpart, so I think he's going to be having a much easier time scaling into the game now.
Yeah, and this is where things can get a little bit rough here. You're not level 6. Ooh, the engage comes in onto Goddeer. He's going to get locked on up here. Voltage will be able to burn the ultimate. It should secure that kill. Goddeer actually gets the kill onto Zar, and flash away. Not going to be enough as it was locked on by Sohyun.
Yeah, Sohyun able to put that final ultimate down before the flash away, and that allows him to pick up the kill. This is also going to mean the Mountain Drake going over for the side of Cute Girls Only, and that's a huge win. We talked about this already in the pregame, but you have to take control of this game. If you are Egg right now and it's just not panning out for them, like the late game is not as fantastic as the side of Cute Girls Only, but it's already going in their favor right now, and a lot of it is due to Goddeer.
Yeah, Goddeer having great impact so far, and even so, we're looking at this top side Zavera. Now he has the Conquer stacks. Maybe he can look to start turning things around. He has it fully stacked, has plenty of healing on his kit, and even though it started out looking good for Manasu there, is going to get paying a big tax.
Yeah, Manatsu just has to take a bit of some shorter trades. I mean, the longer a trade goes, the more the bleed really starts to get to you if you are playing against the Darius. So just some shorter trades, but you could see that he's already doing some decent damage in the first 3 seconds, and as long as you cut it that short, I think he could really get away with winning this laning phase, to be honest, and a lot of it might just be due to Zarfez.
Yeah, Zarfez paid a lot of attention into this bot lane, but if he comes to the top side, which I mean he is set up in a good position towards that top half of the map right now, he can look for capitalization, whether or not it's in a dive play, because you can nullify that turret aggro with your Kayn ultimate, so there is the possibility of a dive.
There is. There definitely is. I think personally Zamra really has to get his footing again and start to hit a good power spike for himself before he should go for any more really aggressive trades. I mean, of course, does not want to die anymore. It's already a 4-0. Gaudier on the other side.
Yeah, and it's going to lead his team to a 3k gold lead so far here. Ooh,
Here's the gang.
flats onto the top lane. Manasu already used his dash, forced to use that flash as well. Will be able to get away from the gang. Still has Call of Forge God available for him as, ooh, that's going to be shut down onto Voltage. Trying to dash on out here. The slow isn't going to be enough to really lock him down, though.
Yeah, he's super tanky, and that does help you when you're dealing against the burst of the Veigar. So able to get out of there, no worse for wear, and still farming quite well in this game, keeping on par with Maknae Sohyun at the moment. And I mean, that's melee versus range, but to be more or less at the exact same CS is definitely something to be proud of.
Yeah, I mean, Voltage does have good control over the wave. He can just
Yep.
constantly shove. He's got good wave clear there, and Maknae, he's actually going to be the one that's looking to just farm things out, not really looking to roam, and maybe that's where Voltage can find his next impact. Try to push out the wave, try and then roam out to some of the side lanes, because if they 3-man top lane, that's definitely a very viable gank here.
Yeah, I would have to say so. And there's a lot of mobility and a lot of CC that you can put down if you expend some resources in the top lane. Either way, I think in general, I think Egg has to start pulling some plays here because they are slowly falling behind. And you can imagine if they don't find a lead by the next dragon, I think they might just have to concede that as well.
Yeah, and I mean, the next dragon is a cloud dragon, so just a little bit of context. It's not like
Yeah, not too big.
the most fearsome dragon to give up here, especially if, I mean, just imagine if it was something like an Inferno dragon with the late scaling comp that you have on the side of Cute Girls only. That would be very rough for the side of Egg.
Yeah, that would definitely be something to worry about. However, I think giving over Cloud Drake at the moment, it's not the best, but it's not the worst. If anything, I think it would help Maknae Sohyun on the Veigar and Gaudier as well sort of catch up and start playing around this river even harder than they would before. It's not something that you want to give up, so we'll have to see if they decide to trade something in return or if they decide to try and contest it as much as they can.
Yeah, it does look like Frez, he wants to try and make a play into that bot
No
lane.
stun.
Voltage doesn't get stunned up by the baby
Here we
kitchen.
go.
In fact, he's gonna look and try and go in. Does land the ultimate. Does get absolutely bopped. That's not what you want to see if you are the mid laner of Egg. That was definitely a little bit scrambled there.
I would say so, and him being scrambled now as well. By the way, have you seen that Sonic trailer? Just side topic. Have you seen it?
I saw a brief 1 second of it, and I said nope.
All right,
And,
well,
yeah.
respectable. Either way, that is going to be Cute Girls only securing.
Oh my
Well
god, that
done.
damage.
Yeah, Czar Prez has to go back now, and I mean across the entire board, we're seeing Cute Girls only winning this early game at the moment, and on a harder scaling composition as well. So it really taking away a lot of options and a lot of opportunities that Egg had before losing their lead, of course.
Yeah, and I just wanna we're probably curious at how strong Maknae is right now, and he's got 116 AP farmed up from his passive so far.
That's strictly from the passive.
Yeah, and he's got 242 AP, and this is with
That's
the Hextech
actually-
GLP, which
Yeah.
isn't necessarily the most nukey kind of item for a first item. Typically, if you want to go for big damage, you get that Ludens, right?
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
But,
100%. And I mean that's already spells bad news
Yeah.
for the side of Egg at the moment. And a lot of that was due to the fact that you picked Nautilus. Of course, it was a counter pick Veigar, but like either way, you blind picked Nautilus. They knew it was in the mid lane as well, so they had their choice of counter pick. So why not just pick Veigar, and why not just farm up on the Nautilus and also farm up on those minions as well? You're not going to be contested too much.
Oh, here comes a
gank
gank though. So he might be in trouble. He does throw it on the baby
Flash.
cage. It does bait things out, and he just dunks another man in the mid lane, and at this point in time, you know, your Frez, you'd like to, of course, get your I don't think he has his transformation quite yet, so you're still farming up for it, but that's not the way to do it, as here comes the Rift Herald, is going to get popped into the mid lane, annihilates that mid tower.
Yeah, that's going to be a good chunk of change going over to Cute Girls Only, just to add to their giant pile of gold sitting back at their base. And I'm sure they're going to have some lovely buys coming through very soon. But Smart Flash overall in that gank from Maknae Sohyun, able to get a good distance away from the Kayn, and that's not going to allow him to Umbral Trespass onto you. Stops the gank there and gets the mid tower as well. So overall solid play, and you can see a lot of pressure coming out from Gaudier as well. He's exactly where he needs to be.
Manasu taking the fight against Zamara.
Oh, called the Forge God.
Yeah, throwing out College of Forge God. Can he finish it out? Zamara forced to flash. And that's not how the carry versus tank matchup is supposed to go.
Yeah, and this is one of your lanes that you were hoping, hey, this will stop and we will win the game off of it, but
ooh, it could be the turnaround. Here comes Frez. He's coming up into the top lane, but he does get the finish onto the Darius before he goes down. So a very nice trade kill, but Frez finally getting himself onto the board. At least an assist.
Yep. Trade kill, and unfortunately there was no shutdown to be had over there for Zamora, but by the way, he is going to appreciate that gold. Don't know how much it's going to mean in the greater scheme of this entire game. After all, it's a very tall order to come back from a 6k gold to go back to a 6k gold deficit at around 16 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, you would give them a little bit maybe if they had a good scaling composition, but if you're looking at the comp right now, it's definitely a better scaling on the side of Cute Girls Only. But not only that, you have the one AP threat on your team, Voltage, who's about to just die straight up again. As God, he secures that kill, and now it's going to be the dive onto the bot lane. Sylvia Plath, he's trying to disengage with that tidal wave, but it does look like it's just going to be more gold given over to the side of Cute Girls Only. It looks like it's not just Cute Girls. Maybe they've fallen for their charms. Maybe they're just sugar daddies giving over free gold.
Yeah, Agar not having a good time right now, and in their own jungle as well. They're just dying left and right, and I gotta say, I gotta look back to around 5, maybe 10 minutes ago and say, you have to really get out of this solo queue mentality where it's like, all right, everyone keep your heads down, you know, just lane. Jungler's gonna, you know, pass by every now and then. Hopefully you get a gank going. I think you need to play more proactively than that if you want to get a lead when you're playing this type of composition. I mean, if you just go ahead and scale, that's exactly what the side of Cute Girls wants. They got ahead in the early game, so you need to make things happen, and you have a decently good composition to do it, right? If Kayn finds a pick, you have the follow-up from Voltage, hopefully, and you can start to really lock down and put some damage down onto these lonely members of Cute Girls Only, but not this game, and they just have to figure out how exactly they're going to hang on and perhaps find some picks. They still have the tools. We'd just like to see a little bit more activity coming out of them.
Yeah, and Frez, he does have the Shadow Assassin transformation available to him, so him not transforming here really means that he wants to commit to the roster. He wants to be more of that team fighter. Now, I'm not sure if the team fighting Kayn is exactly what you want, because without Voltage being ahead, he is very far behind right now. You just don't have the AP magic damage to really combat the side of Cute Girls Only in these 5v5s. Manatsu has only built armor, and he is absolutely going to be a monster, as it might be able to catch on to Voltage. Voltage once again burned down here, losing so much HP. Here comes the re-engage. They're going to find the Nami onto that pick. That's going to be the Ocean Drag, probably going uncontested.
Yeah, I would have to say so. It would sort of be suicide if Cade decide to secure that, and it's just an Ocean Drake after all. At 20 minutes it means less and less, but you don't want to give that up, so unfortunate that they had to concede that over to the side of Cute Girls Only. It's tough, and I think if if you were to come back from a situation like this, it would have to be decisive play, and maybe perhaps with a roster of subs and with an uncomfortable team play happening right now, I just think maybe they're not as confident to do those things. Just not exactly what you want to see when we're playing in a league, when we're playing in a competitive match.
Yeah, and interestingly enough, they keep Voltage, or at least they keep their side lanes going the way it is. I would have assumed maybe you move that duo lane into that mid lane to try and neutralize the threat from the Vigar, and at least get Voltage some free time. Get him maybe that second item, and maybe that Morello's, that might be a big turning point, just being able to find someone to burst out here. But at this point, without his magic damage, the side of Egg, the only Egg they're finding is Egg on their face.
All these Egg references.
It's a little bit of a freebie. You gotta give me that one. They named their team Egg.
Yeah, it's not even a meta. It's just a straight up object. It's like an egg. It's like, I can think of 1,000 things.
Yeah, and it looks like Zamara, he might get picked off here as he didn't last very long in this world.
Yeah, that is, of course, going to be equaling the Baron started. We'll have to see if a contest comes out from the side of Egg.
Yeah,
it's early in the game, so it's only 21 minutes in, so they are taking a healthy chunk of damage right now, looking to pull off a bit of a turn, perhaps.
Ooh, it looks like they catch out the Kane, and Kane is going to fall down here. They even get to call the Fort God onto Epic Axe Guy, and he's just not epic at all as he falls down straight down there. And Shay able to pick even a support kill onto his opposing support, and now that should be the Baron buff going over to the side of Q-Curves, only at 22 minutes in the game.
And at this point, I can't put all of the fault onto Egg. I mean, they're playing a behind game against a Veigar. It's just so difficult to play. This is the whole reason why he picks Glacial Augment is so that he can slow people enough to put them in the cage. And Kane has no escape from the cage. Nautilus as well, Darius as well. There's really no escapes, actually, now that I take a full look at it, on the side of Egg that can get out of the cage. And that's why I think this 5th pick Veigar in the draft is so smart.
Yeah, I mean, it prevents the Vayne as well. You throw the cage down and Vayne just has to wait for the cage to disappear before you can actually do anything with the pick. And I mean, at this point in the game, you really need your Vayne to actually output some damage. She hasn't hit her 2 items. Maybe once they get the 2 items, that might be a possible go point here. Yep. But the rest of the team just feels so far behind. And Maknae, he's super strong. Once he gets the spooky ghosts, you know, he has more pick potential than the side of Egg.
Yeah, and if anything, this game, because it feels like it's over. I mean, you can see this collapse coming in here. They did not have to pop it, but that's fine too.
Yep, that's a big rip. That's one of those F in chat moments.
That's one of those FFs in chat.
You know, I didn't want to throw the extra F in chat, but you know. Oh, what?
The Praise Seeker gonna be able to find the kill. Nice from God, dear. I mean, in true fashion too. He's been playing a fantastic game so far. If you remember, I think it was like 6 minutes in, but he was 4-0. Something along those lines, but he's been having a fantastic game. Played great around his top lane, went for a smart return gank, and that's what really got the ball rolling for the side of Q-Girls Only. Now looking to take this inhibitor, and I didn't think I would see a comeback this game, but I did want to see some proactivity, and there we go.
Yeah, it is going to be a gauge onto Voltage, and Voltage, it just doesn't seem like he got to play the game today. At least in this game number 1, as that's the double kill going over to Karn. And it looks like they're just looking to finish out this game. Karn's just sitting right in front of their fountain saying, hey, come at me.
It's a good tank Sivir play right there. I'm very proud of Karn.
Yeah, and that will be game number 1 secured by the side of Cute Girls Only. And we have to see a few changes come through from the side of Egg, because they got blasted this game. Finished 15k below their opponents, 19 kills down.
You
That was
know,
hard to watch.
I may have a limited dictionary when it comes to on stream, but they absolutely got blasted. You have a lot of things to think about if you are on the side of Egg. You gotta look back to that draft. Hey, maybe blind pick obvious mid Nautilus is not the way to go because it seems like Maknae Sohyun has the right answer for it. And you have to look at Gaudier as well and say, well, maybe we shouldn't give him Rek'Sai. Maybe we should start banning other picks as well, or at least get the Rek'Sai off the table. Maybe give your jungle a better 1v1 because Kane into Rek'Sai is not the way to go, I will say. It sort of puts him behind in terms of the early pressure that you can exert and that 1v1 as well. So a lot of things to think about. You could also look at those solo lanes and look at the play overall. Overall, I just hope that the mindset coming out from Egg does not falter here. I hope that coming into this next game, they at least try and go for more proactive plays. I think they really need to break out of this whole I am in laning phase. No one speak to me ever again mentality and really try and lean into their team and try and rely on them and use communication to their advantage. Try and find picks in the early game. We'll see what happens though.
Yeah, I mean, it did feel like Egg didn't quite play to their win conditions for their composition. And I mean, sure, the draft had some flaws in it, but in the end, even though you have a draft with flaws, there are still ways you can get into the game. But I mean, Cute Girls Only, they played to their win conditions. They had a great time executing it, and we'll have to see after this break when we come back. F the side of Egg. Can they unscramble themselves?
Very
We'll
good
have to see.
question. Yeah.
Yeah. But we will be back very soon. All right. All right, we are back with Dominate Open Week 6 with game number 2 of Egg versus Cute Girls Only. Here it is our best of 3 series. So, you know what? We still have a game number 2 as we are into the pick and ban phase. We have to see some adaptations from Egg in game number 2.
Yeah, that is a bit of an understatement, but yes, hopefully. Change is good. I believe that's what Kazik says. Looking forward into the future, and that is a nice Rek'Sai ban coming out of Egg because they absolutely got decimated by the Rek'Sai coming out from God Deer, so well warranted overall, and I think you can move a lot of pieces around as well for your pick and ban, right? Maybe not first pick phase, get that Nautilus mid in there. Perhaps you could switch it up for something else. Perhaps if you wanted to do first pick phase mid, you can go for a safer blind pick. But either way, other bans coming our way. I mean, Draven, Soraka. We saw some of these bans before already. Actually, I believe. Okay, those are almost the exact same bands coming out of Cute Girls Only. The Teemo, which was like a wasted band, is now going to be the Soraka instead.
Yeah, I think it was definitely mostly the same stuff. But the big thing I want to pull out here for Egg is not only have they banned out Rek'Sai, they banned the Veigar. So maybe you mentioned don't pick the Nautilus first rotation, but if you think if Veigar is the only counter in lane to the Nautilus, maybe you decide to go for it first phase.
Yeah, well, I do agree with you there. I just think if anything, you can keep it as a flex, right? You can keep that pick ambiguous. Ooh, am I going support or am I going mid? As long as they don't know, because we don't know how many more mid counters Maknae Sohyun actually knows to abuse the Nautilus mid. So I wouldn't want it to be as obvious as, hey, definitely going Nautilus mid again, even though it didn't work out last game, right? We want to see some good change in this game, not just in the ban phase, but also in the draft overall. And if anything, I think you have two directions that you can go if you're Egg, right? They lost the first game, and I thought a lot of that was due to the top side of the map. So what you can do, you can either make your top side much better by sacrificing your bot side in the pick and ban phase, or you can just try and make your bot side have even more dominant high pressure picks and try to play around them instead. Because I mean, let's just face facts, the top side lost the 3v3s overall in that last game. So you have to change something around.
Yeah, and it does look like the change might come in the form of, let's just throw a top lane tank. You get to bite one for the team. Zarfrez, he doesn't really want to play up into the top side, at least in that game number one. So maybe looking to play towards the bot side again in game number two. And if you're going to make that change, you have to also reflect that on the map. You can't pick something like the Darius that wants to play super aggressive, that ends up pushing out the lane so far. And Nami Caitlyn, a very aggressive bot lane, but the classic Ashe Zyra, that bot lane is pretty scary as well.
Yeah, throwback to 2013 Cloud9 with that one. Ashe Zyra, very good overall, well-rounded. They do have a good mix of crowd control as well as damage coming in, and it's definitely going to be a power point that you can play around post level 6. You have the Enchanted Crystal Arrow. You can follow that up with Zyra's ultimate as well and get some good CC lockdown onto a single target. And I feel like Cute Girls only kind of sniffed out, hey, I think they're going for a dominant laning phase bot lane because the Nami was already scooped up. So they decide to go for the Ashe Zyra. Also does take advantage of the lack of escapes coming out for the Nami. And Caitlyn going to be that last pick. So both bot lanes solidified, and that Caitlyn Nami is going to try and take advantage of the range discrepancy there and put some good harass, hopefully get some tower plays as well. Let's see if their jungler will be one that can support them during that laning phase.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things that goes in favor of the Nami still is going to be the fact that you are able to take short trades and heal them up. Sure, it might be a little bit mana intensive, but you can still do it. As we see the Lee Sin ban, the Kha'Zix ban, the Syndra ban, the Teemo. Again, to clarify for our viewers here in the chat or on stream, the Teemo ban is a throwaway ban for the side of Cute Girls only, as they were penalized for having late subs. As the Orianna does get locked in for Egg, and we might have an Azir locked in.
Better late than never for the side of Cute Girls only, and I mean, they already took the first game, so these subs working out for them in the end. And I'm very interested in this Azir, however. Actually, okay, it's just gonna go ahead and be put through, and actually it's not a bad composition. The funny thing is, I see Ashe not really as an AD carry, but more of like a control mage in the bot lane. She doesn't necessarily provide a huge amount of damage, especially in her wins. Like, you won't see her topping the damage charts. What she does have, though, which I think is underrated, is like a slow on every single auto attack that she does, as well as the volley. That scales up as you go further and further into the game. It could be like, I think it becomes like a 30% slow, which is nothing to scoff at. So going for a more utility bot lane and then putting that Azir in there as well is going to make up for a bit of a loss of damage that you would have with a traditional AD carry down the bot lane. Master Yi, we saw it banned last game, or last draft rather. Now it's going to be scooped up by Gaudir, and let's see if he can work his magic like he did last game. And of course, that is the Jax going to be rounding out the... hang on a second. Okay, so it looks like it's going to be Jax jungle. I don't know why I brain farted there, but looks like it's going to be Jax jungle Poppy top, but it could very well be flexed around the other way, actually.
Yeah, I mean, the Poppy, we've seen it in the past. I believe Kikis from EU, he played it in the jungle as well. That's the most recent memory I have of Poppy jungle. So certainly not a popular pick in pro play for jungle, but I mean, if you want the Jax to get more income, throwing it in the top lane will be a way to do so. and Poppy does have decent early ganks, so that's something just to keep in mind here. But for cute girls only, their composition feels like it was drafted around getting the Azir and Master Yi pickup. They drafted a lot of CC in that first phase with the
Yep.
Ornn, with the Ashe, with the Zyra, and that allows you to pick more damage focused carries. And the Azir Master Yi definitely filled the bill there.
Yeah, let's not forget that Azir is a counter pick, technically, into the Orianna. So we'll have to see how exactly Sohyun performs in lane versus this Orianna. Orianna, she has been doing relatively okay in the meta so far. If, in my opinion, it's just a bit lacking in terms of damage, and that's not exactly what you want going into the mid game, where that's where games are decided now. To be honest, like in the mid game, and we rarely see games go that much later than I would say 30, 35 minutes. It's very rare to see that. So you want a mid laner that spikes around that point. Orianna to me just feels like more of a hard late game carry. She's got the shockwave to work with, but we can still look forward to seeing those in these mid game skirmishes as well.
Yeah, it will be that Poppy thrown up into the top lane
Okay.
for Zamara. I mean, he has tools to neutralize the Ornn, right? He has the Steadfast Presence, which, prevents the second portion of Call of the Forge God from Manasu, also prevents the Headbutt from coming in. So it can cancel it out, but you have to be very good on the timings. I've seen some matchups play out before, and the Poppy never remembers to pop Steadfast Presence and ends up just getting run over.
Yeah, hopefully the fact that it was a blind pick Poppy is telling that Zamora is a Poppy main, or maybe he's comfortable with Poppy. I mean, I wouldn't blind pick it unless I were comfortable with it coming into like match point in a best of 3. So hopefully he's going to be comfortable with it. Correct me if I'm wrong. I don't think it actually blocks Alpha Strike coming out of Master Yi though.
It does not, just because
Yeah. It's a blink, right?
Yeah,
It's not a jump.
coded as a blink instead of a dash, and I mean it makes sense. We all hear the stories of died in alpha. Hopefully it doesn't happen to to our boy here, the god himself. And I mean, I just want to touch on the Azir pick again. The Azir Orianna, just because this Azir was that counter pick to the Orianna. Orianna, that mid-range mage, and one of the ways to deal with it is to just outrange it and make sure she can't ever come into that range, or she gets heavily punished.
Yeah, possibly even out damage it, depending on how Maknae Sohyun plays the laning phase here. I mean, Azir, has been gaining a lot of popularity recently. I believe he got some buffs not too long ago, perhaps 2 to 3 patches ago. Something like attack speed scaling up into the game was his buff. But
he also got a Q buff, so he's specking more into the Q max. I believe it was like 10-15 damage increase. So it's a decent chunk, and especially with how often you use that Q spell, it definitely adds up. It's one of your main damage spells, and it just allows you to reposition your soldiers to output even more damage.
Yeah, and that's going to help you when you're playing this sort of control team fight style, where basically you're poking, you're zoning out with the Ashe, with the Zyra, with the Ornn as well. He can turn and you can CC a lot of people. So a lot of ways to CC the side of Egg, make them stand still, and that's just going to synergize with Azir's playstyle, right? He puts soldiers in one spot, and hopefully his enemies stay long enough in that spot for him to poke them to death. So we'll have to see if that works out well. The only thing that doesn't quite synergize is God Deer on this Master Yi, but you know what? Judging from his performance last game, I think he's allowed to play whatever he wants. He started the game 4-0, basically got the ball rolling for his team. I would say was the MVP for that game 1, just due to him playing so much better than his jungler counterpart, that I think he can go ahead and pick some of these fringe picks, because I think he has the skill to pull it off.
Yeah, and I mean, the rest of his team is set up to help him
Yeah.
succeed as well. And one of the big things I just want to also take note of is the amount of zone control coming out from the side of Cute Girls Only. You see them, the side of Egg, they want to dive in with their tanks, but you're diving an Ashe, you're diving a Zyra, you're diving an Azir, you're diving an Ornn. The amount of kiting and peel this backline has is kind of insane. I mean,
Yeah, I mean, to put some attention, although back over to Egg, I could see them winning a couple team fights. It's by no means a stretch of the imagination to see something like an Oriana get the CC ball rolling, and then you follow that up with, I don't know, Caitlyn traps. You can get Tidal Wave in there. Poppy is going to have her body slams quite often up, or heroic charges, that is. And that's going to hopefully help you make picks. It's a very similar composition, I would say, that we saw to last game for Egg. They want to make these picks, and hopefully they'll play aggressively enough to put themselves in the position to make those picks.
yeah, but they also have some tools to scale a little bit better into that late game because you have the Oriana. Once she hits those 4 or 5 items, she's becomes an absolute monster. Caitlyn, you know, we all know she has that mid game power trough, but when she does hit those 6 items as well, the range advantage for the Caitlyn is definitely not a joke in comparison to the Ashe. Even though, you know, Ashe does have the second longest range, Caitlyn, you know, the headshots are going to do plenty of damage.
Yeah, and I think if you're Egg, I think you really want to take control of this early game. I haven't seen Jack's jungle too often, but hopefully he's going to be at the right place at the right time. And especially support that bottom lane as well, right? That's the lane that we're looking to achieve the gold lead, not necessarily by kills, but hopefully by chunking out that bot lane tower, getting those plates down, and transferring that lead to the rest of the map, right? Usually we see the Caitlyn Nami get some support from the jungler, they take that bot tower, and then they transition over. You have the choice of mid or top lane to go to after that, and basically take all those tier 1 towers, and that hopefully presses you far enough to get through that mid game power trough.
Yeah, and I mean, certainly a lot of focus going to be put into that bot lane. And I mean, Frez, he is on to the Jack, so he can have a lot more agency in that bot lane versus the Master Yi. Master Yi, we don't see as a typical, you know, big time level 2, level 4 kind of ganking jungler. He wants to get those items. He wants other laners to set him up. Whereas the Jax, he can try and go for some of these more aggressive plays, and they're looking to set up for a level 1 here.
Oh, sneaky, sneaky. Karn, is he going to be able to get out? Yeah, it looks like it. It was actually the Jax leading the charge here. I do not understand that. And, I mean, Jax, no CC to threaten with that. If anything, just a Counter-Strike flash in, but not necessarily the guaranteed CC that you want. Looks like he actually did. Okay, he actually did put a skill point into a Counter-Strike. Was looking for it, but he got called off in the end. Did not want to risk that. So, I mean, starting your level 1 with the Counter-Strike, not what I would call optimal. I'll have to see if that really affects our laning phase, though. Or jungle phase, rather.
Yeah, I mean, it's not the worst option. Typically, if you start one of these buffs, you're going to spec either into that W skill or into that Counter Strike. The W skill is Empower, but the Counter Strike will allow you to clear the jungle a little bit safer, just reduce some of that damage you're taking because you dodge all that damage. Both junglers starting on the top side, however.
And just coming in from my stats team right here. Hold on. Looks like Jack's jungle does start E, so nice shout out. Thank you, Joe, for that one. But either way, I will now commence eating my words, and we will get back into this game, right?
Yeah, was it a hard boiled or was that soft boiled?
It was one of those dry, hard boiled eggs that like your mom gives you, and you're like, Oh, I love it. But then you need like a gallon of milk to drink it with as well.
Ah,
Because you're
seems a
literally
little rough.
choking. Yeah, I'm not projecting or anything though. It's not my mom that does it.
Zavara will be able to hit level 2 first and in a good position, at least at the start of this game, to at least have a better lane phase than in game number 1.
I certainly hope so. I definitely want it to be an exciting series, and I think it's not over by any means, as long as the side. Give me 1 second. The side of Egg over here pulls together. They start trying to look for these early game plays and start to really layer their CCs together. I think they definitely have a good shot of taking control of this mid game.
And they're going to have the opportunity to do so, right? With the fact that they have a big ganking advantage in the jungle. That definitely has to be a key point here, just because you can gank with Zarfrez on the Jax, whereas Gaudier, you're looking to punish ganks because it's very difficult to lock people in place. They can just walk away from you. You're looking more for those overextensions in there. We see a fight into this spot lane. Scuttle is going to get a shield from the Orianna. Zarfrez, he has to flash away, and Gaudier, the rotation game coming out from Cute Girls Only, punishes that move.
Yeah, look at the quick movements here. I mean, it started out as a 2v1 because of the quick rotation from Makne Sohyun, and that's exactly how you want to play it. That's how I think Egg should be playing as well, but a little bit behind on the trigger. They do lose their flash on the jungler because of that, and that might affect his ganks going forward. I mean, we were talking a little bit about the Master Yi ganks, and typically I only see Master Yi's go for like 70% and above ganks, because anything else they really won't work out for them, or they'll blow things that they don't want to blow. Like for example, you don't want to blow your flash and then miss an opportunity maybe 2 minutes later where you could have gotten a kill. So it's all about picking the right ganks, finding that snowball early, and that really seals the game up if you are a Master Yi.
Yeah, I mean, Master Yi is definitely more of an opportunistic player or champion, waiting for the plays to come to him, waiting for the opportunities to come to him.
Oh, nice
steady fast presence. Yeah.
That is heads up play coming out from Zamra. He was performing relatively well in that 1v1. I mean, I can't say for certain. After all, he got ganked at like 3 minutes or something like that, and the game started to become harder and harder for him. He got a return gank after that, and by then the laning phase was already in a tough spot for him, going up against an Ornn with 3 assists to his name. It was not pleasant, but hopefully having a different game this time on the Poppy. Poppy does have some very nice early game base damages to work with. If you do land that stun plus Q combo and walk away from that, it could just mount up over time and really start to take its toll on the enemy's HP bar.
Yeah, and going to be some respect given over to that Jax gank. It was warded out there. Zarfrez clearing the ward out with his own control ward, but does get the back off. And I mean, Shay and Karn, they've been doing very well in this bot lane. They have a shoving lane, and one of the issues that you have with the Nami as a support is that she doesn't provide you any wave clear, any way of controlling the wave. It's all about taking these fights, taking short trades.
Wow, nice. Them up. Yeah, good prediction snare right there from Shay, actually. I'm actually getting them behind the minion wave, and that damage is building up over time, and you can already see an HP deficit for the side of Egg over here in their bot lane. Not quite what you want to see. They actually lose the plate first.
Yeah, it's definitely looking a little rough in that bot lane. You wanted to be the ones to really control the lane here with this Caitlyn, with the Caitlyn Nami. Because you have so much poke capabilities as the gank comes up into the top lane. Frez, he could look for the counter strike, is able to get the stun, prevent Manasu from getting that Forge God coming down. But now Gaudier, they're going to actually channel the teleports coming in from Voltage. He wants to respond to try and collapse, but it is just going to be the disengage coming out from both teams.
Not too bad. It wasn't the most promising gank in the end. So the fact that they don't lose anything off of it is good in and of its own sense, but nothing gained from it either when you show top lane. And you can really see the rotations coming out for the side of Cute Girls Only. I mean, they are quick to pull the trigger. And actually, we might see a return gank. Ooh, that would not have been good for Zamra. Did have the flash available, though.
Oh, he wants it, with it, though. And Godir hit level 6. He's going to dash in onto Zamara. Okay. Zamara doesn't have the ultimate to disengage. As a result, we're going to have to burn that flash, and a good game coming in from Godir. Also, just the patience of ticking over to level 6 with that little extra EXP coming in from the lane. And
I mean, these are some of the things you had to think about. I'm not sure when that pink ward was placed up in that top lane, but it really worked wonders for them. It's the whole reason why Zamra felt like he had to face check it. I mean, he had no vision in there, wants to go secure some vision for himself, and that's what led to the face check in the end. If anything, like when you expend so many resources up in that top lane as Egg, I think you want to at least leave a pink ward, maybe a regular ward, and then once you see it be cleared, you respect it for the next minute or so.
Yeah, and one of the big things I want to point out is the somewhat large CS discrepancy starting to show up in this bot lane. With so much shoving happening into that bottom lane, the advantage is actually going over to the Ashe.
Yeah, totally right. And Zamra getting a little low over here. Oof. When the boy steps on your buckler, that doesn't feel too nice. But, I mean, I don't want to... Unfortunately, in the pregame, I sort of stacked the cards against the side of Egg over here, and I said, oh, they had to win through their bot lane. First of all, Ashe Zyra is not a bot lane to scoff at. Oh, skirmish in the mid.
Yeah, Counter-Strike is going to be used. Is actually going to bait out the ultimate. The Shockwave doesn't get anything. Zafres, he has the ability to collapse on the Sohyun, but the collapse from the Zyra. Shay coming in clutch with that save. Cuts like shea butter there, and Sylvia looking for the disengage with that tidal wave is going to not be able to find the knockup onto Karn. Karn burning the flash to try and stay onto the engage, but will get disengaged. And first blood going over to the side of Cute Girls Only.
And well deserved as well. And Zamra playing with fire over here. He's getting low.
Yeah, he is able to pick up the buckler, able to get that extra shielding. Manasu didn't have too much mana to really push that advantage. Both of these top laners do have the Bomby Cinder, but the Chain Vest is going to be the advantage for Manasu, and given the fact that Poppy does mostly physical damage, probably a good item to get here.
Yeah. And I just want to start talking about the game state overall. You could just see so much proactivity coming out from the side of Cute Girls Only. They look more comfortable.
Perez, he wants it. He's going to get the stun. He should be able to secure the kill.
There we go.
Dash in for himself into that top lane. That's what we want to see before, but now Voltage is going to have a beautiful flash to dodge out onto the zero wall. Barely saved clutch that play.
Yeah, very smart flash there, and that is going to allow them to free hit this top tower. However, as a trade, it's going to be the Malindrake started up here by Cute Girls Only. Not sleeping on the wheel. They are very much awake, alert, and is going to be the trade top. TP as well initiated, and it's only Zafres there. Takes a tower hit too.
Yeah, and
it's at least going to be zoned away.
Teleport to get on back. He's going to jump in. Won't be able to get the knockup. Very curious there. But does hit the Call of the Forge God and should be able to get the finish. Won't be able to. Doesn't have the flash to continue chasing. And Zafres barely gets out. But here comes the collapse on the bot lane. Tidal Wave is going to land. It is going to be the follow-up bubble as well. But Shay able to finish off that kill with the plants. Woo! An explosion of action.
Yeah, and what a smart play. Actually, coming out from the bot lane, I bet you it was in no way expected that Karn and Shay would actually rotate back towards that bot lane. Usually after you take a dragon, you probably want to recall. You probably got some gold in your pocket, but instead, they actually predict that they're hiding in the brush. They go ahead and hawkshot that, and then they move in for the collapse. they earn a kill because of it. And to be honest, all the lanes really trying their hardest to perform in this lane. You can see Maknae Sohyun roaming very quickly to these skirmishes. Manatsu trying to find solo kills, as well as Karn and Shay trying to find the potential 2v2 wins of their own. A lot of attention put now to this Rift Herald.
Oh, Voltage might be caught out here. Maknae is going to go in. Won't be able to get the wall, though. And another slippery Orianna juke coming out from Voltage, bringing out the high energy in some of these plays. But Zamara, you might be able to get caught out here. We'll be able to disengage the CC of Zamasu with his own hammer, but able to hold on.
I would say so, and it's still, we're seeing in this game Godir just as present as the last game, and looks like the Rift Herald is going to be initiated now. Godir going to have an easy time picking that one up, so it's going to be a win overall for seemingly nothing traded. Perhaps a bit of mid lane minions denied, but other than that, you're fine with the trade if you are Cute Girls only.
Yeah, I'm interested if he decides to try and look for that opening with that Rift Herald, given the fact that there are only 30 seconds before turret plane does fall. Does he try and cash in with the Rift Herald, or does he not? However, Perez, he was able to get 3 plates up into that top lane when they made that play up in the top. So you exchange the Mountain Dragon for extra gold onto, I would say, your biggest late game carry in this Jax. Given the fact he does have the Conqueror, and he is a little bit behind still, but he's doing a good job this game.
Agree with you there, and plates just fell off. There's actually a 2-plate lead for the side of Egg, so got a nice chunk of change with them. However, the Rift Herald, it did go over to Cute Girls only, and you gotta expect that that's going to equate to some money as well, no matter where you put it, really. And it all comes down to what lane do you want to put this Rift Herald on? Do you want to put in the mid lane? Do you want to sort of break open that mid lane, allow the junglers to, or allow your jungler rather, to invade, have a much easier job with that? Do you want to put in the side lanes, then have a swap of the mid and top as well? A lot of options, a lot of things to think about if you are Cute Girls only.
Yeah, they definitely have the options, and given how much they've chipped down this bot lane tower, they might even decide to throw focus some pressure, maybe get a rotation from the Azir, as we see a different style coming out from Maknae Sohyun in this game. Tidal Wave isn't going to land onto anyone. They're trying to continue chasing it. Here comes possible re-engage. They're going to throw it out. The lockdown from Shay, and he cuts them down. He's going to get the block onto that ace in the hole, and it might just get turned around here. Teleport being pulled in by Voltage, trying to disengage for his team. But here comes the swoop in. Maknae will be able to get the kill. It is going to be a chase coming in from Gotti. You're able to get the kill on the Voltage, and now he flashes on out, looking for the close. Gets himself the double kill. Will get shut down by the Caitlyn, but all in all, definitely worth for the side of Cute Girls only. And it looks like they're just seducing the side of Egg, cashing in onto a bot lane tower as well. A huge advantage.
Absolutely so. Hashtag worth there. Cute Girls only. It looks so clean coming out. I mean, they won the 2v3. They had the rotation of 2 members coming into the bot lane already, so it looked like a terrible situation for the side of Egg. They tried to pull off and engage. Not the easiest to actually land a Tidal Wave without any follow-up CC, or without any prior CC in advance, and they don't get any lockdowns. Try and push a little bit too far, and they get punished very quickly by the side of Cute Girls only.
Yeah, it just felt like the Tidal Wave was almost used like a Kled charge, as here comes an engage. Ooh, the wall does find its mark, but it is going to be an exchange for that shockwave, and it ends up paying off as Voltage will exchange 1 for 1, but you were at a numbers disadvantage is definitely worth, as Zarfraz, he is way out of position, is going to get the arrow to the head there. The disengage attempts coming out from Sylvia, but it's not going to pay off, as thrown into the mid lane, while the Zyra Ashe are taking that dragon. So they're just taking everything onto the map right now, and Q-Girls only in a very large power position once again.
Yeah, and a very characteristic pick coming from the bot lane here. That Ashe Zyra combo that you said, we are seeing it definitely perform well in this game. And amidst the forest fire that is Egg, I still do see a nice beacon of light coming out from Voltage. I think he played great the first game, putting on a slightly better performance, I would say, this second game. But it's hard when all your lanes are losing. It's hard when your jungler lacks the presence that God Deer over here on the Master Yi has. And at the same time, though, moving forward in terms of the league, sure, you may lose some of these battles in terms of weekly games, but if you can really start to play or identify and play around your power points, in this case, I would say Voltage, a great mid laner. He has been performing well, and maybe that's what you start to put your focus on in terms of the pick and ban when you're moving forward in the league.
And it's just also, in addition, Egg did take this matchup 2-0 the first time they played, so very different matchup coming out in this week number 6 here.
Yeah, and it's so hard to read too, right? I'm pretty sure both of these teams are using subs, whether that be regular roster subs or e-subs. Okay, top lane skirmish.
And it is going to be disengage coming from Zyra. Now they're re-engaging with the Ashe ultimate, and with the teleport coming in from the Ornn, they're going to be able to melt down Zarfraz, and ooh, he does get the burn down with that. Ooh, a double kill going over to the Ashe pick, but the burn damage coming out from the red smite of Zarfraz at least cashes in one, as they were in that number disadvantage. But it just feels like the side of Q-Girls only, they have the situation read completely.
Yeah, and unfortunately so close to getting an even trade there, but I'm sure you'll take what you can get if you are on the side of Egg. Still trying to knock down this top tower, and I don't think it's a bad decision. The problem is you have no pressure on the other lanes of the map. So one of two things is going to happen here. Either they're going to be collapsed and blasted in the top lane, or they're going to lose objectives in the other lane, since you have no pressure in those either. And you can already see it coming to fruition here. There's the mid tier 2. Quick work by Maknae Sohyun. Azir does have a very easy time taking down towers and pushing his team even further of a gold lead now. It is, let me check, just about 6k gold lead. We saw it last game at 16 minutes. Now 20 minutes, a little bit far behind, but still a confident control of the game coming out here from Q-Girls only.
Yeah, and they have the situation read completely so far. They are posturing around the Baron, and the big difference, what it feels like from the side of Q-Girls only, they're playing 3 lanes where it feels like the side of Zero just narrowly misses, but now the Baron just started straight up. They don't really care. They know they have the vision control. The teleport is going to be channeled in by Zamara. They're going to escort in the Jax, but there's just no way. They're walking to that sense. They find a kill onto the Jax. They're trying to disengage. Zamara is in a good position into that back line, and it will end up cashing in onto 2 kills, but Manasu, he's just out of position. But now it's going to be a battle of the 80 carries. Karn just doing so much damage individually. Ooh, the 5-4 coming in from Sky, and he's going to get chopped on down. Sylvia now will end up paying for his life, for his 80 carries mistakes. And the side of Q-Girls only, they walk away with the Baron buff. Sure, they lose 3, but they still maintain 2 Baron buffs, as Karn will be able to survive the tower at the end. Woo! That was a lot.
And you know what? I'm going to go ahead and say that was not the best call for the side of Q-Girls only. Like, if you can imagine, first of all, that was a 50-50. Like, there's no denying that that was a 50-50. Unless I'm wrong about the smite timers, but no, I'm pretty sure it was a 50-50. First of all, you do a 50-50 Baron when you're ahead. That's a perfectly bad decision to make. Second of all, that almost lost the team fight. And you can imagine, maybe if they did lose the team fight, they would have lost the Baron anyway. So Either way, they barely pull out on top just by the skin of their teeth. They're able to maintain their leads, but that would have extended the game by, I would say, another 5 minutes more than it normally would have, discounting the gold lead that the side of Egg would have gotten from securing the Baron.
Arrow thrown on in is going to miss its target. Voltage has the teleport available if he wants to get a flank, and it's just going to be an engage onto that front line as the knockup comes through, stops these tanks from making their way in. Goddeer, he's just running on in. He doesn't have
exhaust.
Ooh, he's getting locked on up here, gets exhausted, is going to be forced to walk away without any extra gold for himself, but he does cash in onto that dragon, and still it's just more advantages slowly being built up by the side of Q-Curves only.
Yeah, it's still seeing a lot of outplays coming in from the side of Egg. They're still playing to their strengths right now. Their front to back is quite fearsome, especially a Master Yi. That is not the preferable team fight that he's looking for, but still trying to work it to the best of his abilities, and a lot blown in that last fight. You could see the siege already starting off. That cannon minion knocking at the door of that bot lane tower. Another wave of minions coming in now. We'll have to see if Egg can really push back the siege coming out here.
And the 1-3-1 looking to be pulled out from the side.
Unless we see an engage here. That's a weird
I don't think he'll be engaged, but Goddeer, he might get ulted up here, will get ulted, and now he's just going to go straight for it. Voltage, can he burn him out? He does! And with that Conqueror, he should just be able to lifesteal straight off his Zamara, and he is going to get the double kill. Cashes in huge! And this is the Master Yi we all know and love to see in solo queue. My heart is dying inside.
As an AD carry, man, I gotta pour one out for the side of Voltage and Zamara. It's just tragic to see, but that is exactly what happens when you let a Master Yi get ahead in the game.
He wants to go in onto this Goddeer, and they are able to get the shutdown, and now this might be the turnaround. Perez, he himself has Conqueror. He himself is a monster as well, but the double kill will go over in favor for this Caitlyn. Caitlyn finally at 2 items does start to do some damage here, and against the Ashe build, which is built more for the utility, you can count on this Caitlyn to start outputting some big damage numbers.
You definitely can. The Caitlyn, the Jax, the Orianna, they all scale quite well, and like we were mentioning previously, like that Baron, if you can imagine it going the other way, that actually would have changed a bit of the context of the game. And we're starting to see still skirmishes going in favor for the side of Q-Girls only, but just barely. It feels like Q-Girls only take it two steps forward, but still 1 step backwards.
Yeah, and I mean, they are still making progress. It's just, it feels like it could be a lot cleaner, and maybe a little bit of hubris coming in from the team. I mean, you mentioned it yourself. They took that 50-50 Baron. And if that's not hubris, I don't know what else is. And when you're also tanking tower shots in the top lane as Goddeer, it's a little bit of disrespect. Also, a little bit of, I'm a Master Yi at 25 minutes. I have my 2 items, my 2 core damage items. I can take on anyone. Which also is a definition of hubris.
Turns out he wasn't wrong in that 1v2. He was, however, wrong in that 1v3. Zarfrez able to pick up that kill and punish that Goddeer for his heinous crimes, but overall the control still very much in favor of Q-Girls only. They are putting their attention towards this Baron now that it is short of a minute to come up. Oh, nice backdoor call actually coming in from Goddeer. They spot him out, starting to rotate now. And it looks like he realizes that as well. Just pulling apart the side of Egg at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, they have a good setup to collapse back towards that top side here, but it's just a matter of now that they've lost position on the mid wave, they also lose position onto this Baron. Without that wave priority, it makes it that much more difficult. And Goddeer and Azir, Master Yi Azir, one of the highest damage dealers to Baron. They just absolutely
Oh,
blasted him.
whoa, TP.
All right, we didn't see that. Zamara is just going to be free food here. Actually lasting a lot longer than I expected.
And the team's
Voltage
trying to play
able-
around it. Oh no, Godir.
Yep, Gaudier into the back line, just absolutely blasts Voltage. And he's just trying to run him down. Gaudier, ooh, gets snared on up there. Is going to get hit by the headshots. Maybe they have damage.
Oh,
Gaudier
no.
still wants to go over the wall, and that is Hubris? Question mark? But ooh, the Horde ulti is going to
What the?
not even make it to the goalpost, as now it's just going to be the flash forward and the collapse onto Epic Axe Guy. He's going to fall. Shay gets that kill credit, and they will be able to end this series, taking the series 2-0. It was a 2-0 for Egg in week number 1, but 5 weeks later, it's a much different story. As Cute Girls Only, they absolutely snowball both games.
I would say so. And the ending rather, in this game 2 for Q Goes Only did not look the cleanest. I mean, hey, when all else fails, when you have that type of goalie, just flash forward, put your point and clicks onto Epic Axe Guy, and surely he will fall, and that is going to seal the game and the series. Like you said, it was a 2, but overall, how much can we take away from this game, right? I mean, subs on both sides. It looked like, just due to the subs that were coming in, it just seemed like the side of Q Girls Only had a bit more synergy going for them, had a bit more shot calling or communication as well going for them. And that's really the takeaway for this game. And that's really what you need to try and repair if you are Egg going into the rest of the season.
Yeah, and I mean, to put it in context for the group, though, with so many teams sitting at 2 wins, Egg as the second place team with 3 wins, that's going to put them into that next sort of clump there. As Cute Girls Only, now they are at 3-3. Egg, they will drop to 3-2. So things starting to tighten up a little bit here in Group B. And I mean, we'll have to see if Egg can recover from that moving forward in future weeks. Still continue to make that play for that second place. Make sure that they secure themselves that playoff spot, because that's what you're playing for. It's not necessarily you're looking to take the first seed, but you at least want to make it out of the group.
Definitely. And I mean, picking up every win that you can, that might just put you in contention for the first seed. And hey, let's talk about moving forward in the league for the side of Q Girls Only, because they were playing with, I believe, so it looks like
I
they
believe they had a
actually,
few subs.
okay. But either way, if they were utilizing subs, good on them. They have a roster that can work that isn't their main roster. If they weren't using subs, good on them, because they had good shot calling. And it looked like they were just more proactive throughout the entire game. I think you really need to take a look at Gaudier and say, wow, this is a tool that you want to play around and that you want to utilize going forward in the league and going more towards that playoff contention.
Yeah, but with that, that's going to be it for us tonight. This was Dominate Open week number 6. Bringing the action was myself, Nightstar, and my co-caster, Colorcaster Switch. Of course, a shout out to Tejo, as he was the producer for this stream. And I mean, from all of us here, we wish you a good night. And many wishes for your elo to rise.